Okay, picking up where we left off. This is our peach tree that is called Canadian Harmony, and I got it because, you know, Canadian in the name. You'd think it would be super cold hardy, and it is, except that if it's flowering when the temperatures get in the 20s, it will drop all its flowers. So it did. So it will not make any fruit this year because it had not a single flower left on it when it was done. But, you know, another year to grow roots and get big and healthy, I guess. So we'll go with that. And then underplanted here, we got a lot going on. Some yarrow that I need to put some more dirt around. Like, it's kind of subsided there, but it's still flowering. This is sugar baby watermelon that is, looks like it's doing okay. Maybe trying to start a flower. This is a pineapple sage. And there is so much bee balm just everywhere. It's gone absolutely crazy. And I just harvested some flowers yesterday, but there's just so much, so many. So it's gone crazy. There's another ground cherry I tucked in, some silver brocade artemisia, otherwise known as wormwood or mugwort, which is beautiful. I think I'm gonna dig up some of that and transplant it around. And then back against the fence, you can see, because I started way too many green zebra tomatoes, I put a bunch of them over here. And they seem to be doing pretty okay, actually. Better than I thought they would. They get shaded out. I put in a whole mess of beans, willow, something beans, which are indeterminate, whole bean style. And they're, out of all the seeds I put down, I've got 3 that have survived, but they're starting to climb up there. And then the cherry that is, or excuse me, the tomato that is not the farthest one closest to the fence post, but to the left, that's a black cherry tomato, and I may end up putting the other one over here somewhere too. And then the one up against the fence post is a green zebra. And so the herbs are all doing good. The mints, orange mint over there, rosemary, lime mint, everybody's doing well. Down here, underneath the apple tree that has spots all over it, and we had an arborist come, not for the fruit trees, but for some of the other bigger trees in our yard because we thought we had a problem. Helped me figure out that I have cedar apple rust, which is a disease that can go between cedar and apple trees. So I'm pretty sure that's what's happening here because we got little spots all over it. I mean, it's still trucking. It made a lot of leaves this year, but no flowers, no fruit. But that's also a thing that might take a couple years. So, ground cherry. And I have your sort of typical sage. I gave it a really big haircut. It had a bunch, it was like really full and bushy. Gave it a hard haircut, but it seems to be coming back fine. Like, I left enough leaves on there for it to photosynthesize and recover, and I guess it did. And then we have a purple sage here right next to it. Homestead verbena, which maybe is done flowering by the looks of things. More monarda or bee balm. And then, let me turn around here. And then this partially filled bed right here, I just started working on that. I put in this artichoke 2 days ago, I guess. It'd been in the greenhouse. I've been kind of saving it, trying to figure out where to put it. I think it looks like it's doing okay. Okra, calendula, more beans and purple opal, basil. And the beans in here are Blue Lake variety, I believe, thinking right. And then this is a Minnesota midget, which is a type of cantaloupe, but they're tiny. I also threw in some dill seeds, because dill is just not happening for me this year. I finally got some to take. I've got like one plant in the bed, and it's just getting big enough to harvest from, but there's a bunch of it coming on here, which is cool. It's supposed to be beneficial. More okra, another Minnesota midget, and I had 2 in here, and the one I have in the greenhouse is one that I pulled out from this little lump here because they're just kind of making life hard for each other. Let's see, I've got some flowers happening, so maybe that means we'll have beans soon. It's a bunch of calendula or okra. This is a bunching onion. Let's see here. Like I said, I'm basically taking the soil out of what I've been doing for this. I mean, there's a bunch of debris in here. Just throwing my clippings from the plants. I just gave strawberries a big haircut and tomatoes the other day, so I put that in here. Put some straw at the bed. So we're using that to start building the foundation for the soil, and then when I clean out the compost bin, putting a layer of compost. And then the way it's timed out is that like our potatoes were ready, which were pitiful in terms of the yield, but I planted them way too early and the weather's been weird, and so they were not great this year. But anyways, so I've been taking the dirt out of that, and so it's sort of revitalized, and then bought a few bags of soil. I'm trying not to buy because I've got stuff here. It's another sugar baby I just transplanted out. That is a butternut I just transplanted out, or calendula. Like I said, I'm trying to empty out the greenhouse from all the babies. Another Minnesota midget. This is one of the tomatoes that Walter left for me on the wall. And so I just took, like, it only had a few leaves, but I took them off and I buried it sideways. So I figured I'd give it a sporting chance, just see. And these are actually 2 watermelons. And bless him, he gave me a watermelon last year and it just did not grow. I don't know if it was like too late or got stunted for another reason. Anyways, and then this is another watermelon. And I think this might be the Charleston Gray. Let's see if I left a sign. I did not. Or it got eaten or something. But it's just starting to get long, and these are big boys when they grow. All right, and then we'll talk about bee balm, evening primrose, and there's a lot happening in this little corner over here. There's another watermelon, and this is definitely a Charleston Gray. I think that one might be a sugar baby too, the one that I was questioning a second ago. Now that I look at the leaves. This was an artichoke I got from a start, and I probably need to cut back the primrose because it's choking it out. A bunch of borage that I started from seed, and I think I need to transplant some because the one over there is so freaking huge, and they're helpful, they're beneficials. And then our fig tree, which, man, this poor thing, I thought it was dead actually. Like, it was starting to come back, and every time it started to come back, a cold snap would happen, and I cut it back because the ends were definitely dead, and I thought that was helpful, and maybe it just stressed it out more. But anyway, it started putting out sprouts from the root. So, you know, it's not dead yet, and clearly I don't think we're gonna get any fruit this year, but at least it's not dead. So that's nice. Ground cherries, again, ginormous. They're kind of taking over here, crowding things out. This is a Roman chamomile down here, and come down and go back around a bit. The other Tabor artichoke that I started from seed, put that over there, and these take a long time, but they're perennial, so hopefully it'll, you know, just at least get comfortable, and maybe it'll flower next year. If I get it to flower this year, it'll be a happy surprise. Calendula, which I've been pinching back and taking the flowers in for medicinal uses and stuff, and those seem to be doing quite well. Bronze fennel. It's my little kiwi, hardy kiwi, that is probably getting shaded out. And Charleston Gray, I put in here thinking it would grow fast enough to sort of get itself out towards the light, and I think I was wrong, because the ground cherries and the calendula, and there's a little rosemary in there, just are not letting it happen. And this is all just regular peppermint that I probably need to give a hard haircut and dig up some. That is a Sumter cucumber that's trying to grow. Those are just starting to grow, and they're very slow. And then this here, another Sumter cucumber, and then that is another Minnesota midget. And again, you know, I think they're getting shaded out a little bit, so they're having some trouble getting started, but they look like they're finally getting going. All right, so that, and there's nothing in here on this bottom layer. That's all just cardboard and mulch so far. Give you a big overview of what's happening there. And then we'll talk about the lower bed.